Okay. So welcome to this discussion interview with Brooke Milliken. This is Nomas Projects, and my name's Cully, and I'm an artist based in Dundee, and one of the people behind Nomas Projects. Nomas Projects is a five windows gallery. We use five office windows in Dundee and Ward Road, and really it's just as simple as that. So you don't go into a space. We're really interested in alternative spaces, and working within the means of what's possible to show art, even if it's not a white cube space. So we have five office windows and we display artwork in there. And every year we select a graduate from Duncan of Johnston College of Art and Design, to have the Nomas Graduate Prize. And that consists of having an exhibition 1 year after graduating, and a couple of mentoring sessions throughout the year as well. And last year's winner, so that was graduating summer 2024, was Brooke Milliken, who's here with us now. And yeah, I think that's all we're needing to say. But when we first did the poster, Brooke, I don't know if you realised, but Owen, who's my colleague with Nomas, has spelt your name wrong. And so, did you notice? But you were very kind not to say. So I said, "Oh, and we've got." So I noticed as well, and managed to get it changed. So,
Oh, thank you.
so that was very kind of you not to say.
I thought you knew. I mean, yeah, I thought you must.
No, no, we changed it. We changed it, and changed it on the social media and so on as well.
Oh,
But
thank you.
yeah, it's great to have this chat, Brooke. We've been discussing over the last year, kind of your progress since graduating. I know that you have a job based in Edinburgh, and I know it's been difficult to find the time specifically to be making work. And each time we've met, I suppose we've just had a conversation about your progress. Um, and leading up to the exhibition, I think it was maybe about 3 weeks before, you had said, "I don't think I can do this anymore," and I, yeah, I was totally fine with that. If that was the case, but I also thought, if there was a way to, yeah, because I was really conscious of not making you feel coerced or feeling you had to do this, but uh, just thinking if we had a conversation, there might be a narrative that I thought would be interesting for people to know. And ultimately, I think the narrative was someone who's graduated, and I think this is often the case, comes out of art college and finds it difficult to maintain the practice because they're potentially don't have a studio, and they've lost the rhythm that they've had, especially leading up to a degree show where it becomes more intensified and more focused, and then suddenly that all comes to an end, and it's really hard to kind of maintain that rhythm or even find it again. And so yeah, I think, yeah, I was encouraging you to kind of share that narrative because I think a lot of people could relate to it, and um, you maybe benefit from just hearing your experience. So I know that not everyone's experience is the same, and yours is specific to you, but I think there'll be a lot of people could relate to this and be encouraged by it, perhaps as well. So what I was thinking, we'll just have a kind of natural discussion. But I think first of all, and for other people just to get a sense of your work, if you could maybe start by sharing the work in your degree show, and even if there's specific pieces there that you want to elaborate on, and we can chat about those, then people get a sense of what you made at degree show, and then we'll have a couple of kind of questions around that before we talk about the work you've made for Nomas. So if you can share now, that would be great, Brooke.
Should I share the slideshow now,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
yeah?
if you do that, yeah. It was interesting, Brooke, because while you're getting that ready, one of the things that struck me about your degree show was the question, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And
Mm.
because I work for a charity, Morphe Arts, that supports people as they move from art education into professional practice. And it's a question that comes up a lot. And it's often really hard to think about that. Um, like 5 years is a long time, long
Yeah.
time away. But that really struck me. And then the other thing that struck me was, just talking about specifically where you were going back to in Edinburgh and the kind of very different conversations. So I
Mm.
was kind of really fascinated by you addressing the kind of what's life going to look like after art college.
Yeah. Sure. Well, yeah, that's definitely kind of where I was heading with my degree show. I really had no idea what it was going to look like before I started it, and then it all kind of came together in the last couple of months prior to degree show, and I was really just looking at the position that I was in. About to finish art school, moving back into my mum's flat in Edinburgh, where I was brought up and where we've always been, and just really thinking about like what comes next for me, I guess. And I think I was specifically thinking about uh, life as like a working class artist in Edinburgh, living in Edinburgh specifically. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I chose to go to Dundee rather than Edinburgh because I felt like there would be more people kind of on my wavelength in Dundee, and I kind of know that the Edinburgh cohort's quite different. There's not a lot of home students, and I just felt like I would maybe stick out a bit in Edinburgh art school. And I wanted to get out of my mum's flat essentially, so I went to Dundee instead. Yeah, but that's still, and then by the end of it, by the time I was getting ready to go back to Edinburgh, it was like, oh God, I'm going back to Edinburgh, and yeah, it's a funny one. So my degree show ended up being about Edinburgh anyway. It kind of probably would have made more sense if I'd been at
Yeah.
Edinburgh. Um,
Or about specifically about your kind of life experience, having moved away from Edinburgh and then going back to it as well.
yeah. So my degree show was, I guess, in response to um, my situation, moving back in with my mum, not really knowing what's happening next as an artist, feeling quite trapped by, I guess, feeling like lack of opportunity. And I was thinking a lot about what it means for me as a working class artist in Edinburgh, living in Edinburgh. And like Edinburgh's quite a wealthy place, you know, like Edinburgh's, I felt like when I was in Dundee, anytime anyone asked me where I was from and I said Edinburgh, there was kind of like a assumption that I was maybe, I don't know, quite well off, or it's like, ooh, you're from Edinburgh, you know? And
Hmm.
that's not my experience. Um,
Hmm.
and so I felt like I wanted to make a little bit of a statement about that. Um, and I also kind of felt quite aware whilst at uni of the opportunities that many people had that I felt like I didn't have in terms of financial support and I guess the things that can come from having that kind of support network. Oh God, I
Yeah.
don't know. So I was responding with my degree show to the situation that I was in, and so
And specifically about going back home,
I guess
or was it about those kind of general feelings?
it was about both and a few things, but I guess home was the starting point, and okay, you're going back home, you're going back to this place that you've always been and that you came to Dundee to escape, really. Um, not that it's an oppressive household or anything, but it's still, like as an adult, pushing 30, moving back in with your mum because essentially you can't afford to live in your hometown.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, that was kind of the crux of it to begin with, and so I started off wanting to make a space that kind of echoed
mm,
my domestic environment, um, and so I think I might have started with this film here that you can see on your screen, which is
yeah,
just a collection of footage shot from my bedroom window. Um, and my bedroom window is always looked out onto Arthur Seat, and it's a really beautiful view. But as I say, from early childhood up until present day at this point, it was, that's been the view. And whilst it's, yeah, a beautiful view of a beautiful hill and a beautiful city, it's like I was thinking about the flip side of that, and that I guess, yeah, I guess the space came out of this feeling of feeling quite trapped by my environment, and by the situation and financial situation and things like that. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and that little film just kind of traced the seasons, I suppose, and it was kind of fragmented video of the view and of the changing of seasons, I suppose, as well. And I'm somebody that's really affected by the change in seasons, and a lot of the work I do kind of revolves around that, and it's kind of made to
mm,
revolve around that. So that was a yeah, a comment on that as well. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and then
That's really interesting, actually. I don't know if I'd picked up that, I picked up that it was a view from somewhere, and obviously trying to work out from other things in the degree show that gave kind of clues to that it could be looking out the flat window. Um, I'm not sure I'd picked up, the idea of the seasons and the effect of that as well. I know we've talked about that since, but um, yeah, it was just a real. How long did it last? The film? What was the?
that film, oh, I can't even remember. I think it was a few
And the
minutes. Few
two,
minutes.
oh, it's quite short. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite short, and it was kind of yeah, it was basically a slideshow. It was just like each
Oh,
second was a different slide, and it's just
oh
slowly
yeah.
tracked the seasons, and then there was audio there on headphones of just the sound that from within the house, from within the flat, of just like essentially my mum rummaging around and me being in my room and just hearing, through the thin
Yeah.
wall, the life happening around and like the music playing and just that. It was quite a personal wee thing, but I felt like I wanted to include that.
Yeah. I think your whole degree show was personal. That was what kind of drew me to it was this kind of what you were sharing about being an artist and the kind of environment and conversations you have there compared to the conversations you would have going home. I hadn't thought about it actually in terms of you feeling, I don't know if you felt you connected in Dundee and enjoyed that, or was it not possible to stay in Dundee? Like,
I to be honest, I didn't feel that well connected in Dundee. I think that's really a me thing that I struggle to connect. I think with
yeah,
some
okay, yeah,
a lot of people. Um, I don't quite know why that is, but I mean, yeah. I don't know if
yeah.
it's a life.
So it was about going home. It was about, yeah, I'm going home. That's a definite.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think it was just circumstantial. If things hadn't. I mean, I've got a partner here, and it really is just my mum here, family wise, and so like she needs some support, and um, so yeah, it was just like yeah, going back to Edinburgh, but
I like how you've got the film, what you've just described, and then this. the sculptural piece beside it, which kind of alludes more to the kind of career direction as I remember it. But
Yeah,
uh,
totally.
chat about that piece.
Yeah, I made those. There's two of them. Yeah, ladder-like sculptures, I suppose, made out of recycled steel frames that I found,
Yeah.
and they are, um, yeah, referencing that kind of climbing the ladder, as it were, or trying to climb the ladder to success, I suppose, as an artist, and the ups and downs and the struggles that can entail. And they make more sense coupled with the ceiling sculpture that I made, which is so this is just another one of the film. But I made this
Oh yeah.
ceiling, full ceiling, Artex ceiling that was mounted within the space, and I guess they that worked quite well with the sculptures. And I mean, the ceiling was it
Mm.
was a reference to. I was thinking about the glass ceiling and that concept of the glass ceiling, which I don't know if you know about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, the kind of metaphorical ceiling, which it was a term coined in the late 70s, I think, and it was about referencing the barriers that women, but not only women, just like the barriers that underrepresented people face when they're trying to get to the top of their professions and they're trying to climb the ladder and get to where they want to go professionally, but they maybe can't because of being women, being a minority of some kind. And so I was thinking about the concept of the glass ceiling within feminism, but also, and then just changed that into thinking, I called it the class ceiling.
Right.
And I was
Mm.
thinking about, yeah, particularly the barriers faced by, working class artists. Um, and then the ladders were there kind of propped up as if, trying to
Yeah.
get up the ladder. And
So that was
um,
called the class ceiling, that part of the degree show, that part
yeah,
was
that
called,
was,
yeah.
that's a
I
big,
didn't realize that. Yeah, I really like that.
yeah.
Did it also reference the ceiling in your mum's flat as well? Was that yeah,
Exactly
yeah,
as the ceiling in my mum's flat is, and that.
The Artex ceiling, yeah. That
Yeah,
that dates it as well.
yeah, exactly. And I think Artex was put into a lot of social housing in the 70s and 80s, and
Okay. Yeah.
it's, yeah, something that's kind of seen as something that's quite undesirable these days and quite dated. And
Hmm. Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, again, I was in the space. I wanted to reference my domestic environment as well as the urban environment, and so like the ladder is that was kind of inspired by looking at the cranes and a lot of the construction going on
Mhm.
around Edinburgh, and the fact that most of that
Mhm.
construction was actually really expensive student accommodation and not social housing or
Mhm.
council housing. So it was a lot of it was come out of this frustration of like, yeah, not being able to afford my own house in Edinburgh, and then the wider issue of the wider class division within Edinburgh, and being a working class artist in a really middle class art world,
Yeah.
and wondering where I fit in there. Um, yeah.
And the colors of the wall, did that reference the kind of living environment as well? Kind of
Yeah,
home?
yeah, that
Yeah.
did as well. So that was again, yeah, really personal. But like nobody knew. But I mean, when my mum came in to visit the space and my sister, they just burst into tears because they were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like the living room," and like, I mean, a lot of it went over their head, but they were like, that was special for them. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a small family, and yeah, so it was, yeah, a personal
Yeah.
thing, but it made sense to me.
Yeah.
Um,
And you had text-based pieces as well, didn't you? There was a couple of there was another film and then there was text-based works.
Yeah, so the film you can see there in
Oh
the
yeah.
corner, and there's a couple of digital prints there that were kind of made throughout the year that ended up kind of being referenced as well in the film, and
Mm.
And the film itself was I called it like a moving image landscape. It was essentially a landscape, film of Edinburgh and places around Edinburgh that had some sort of personal significance to me. Um, and I guess through text and through spoken word, I
Mhm.
um, recounted experiences and thoughts and ideas and lots of kind of ambiguous pieces of text just about all of these things that I've been talking about. And
Yeah.
it's hard to explain. I mean, I should really have a transcript of the text, and I thought about putting subtitles in,
Yeah,
but
the text in the film, that conversation, yeah, because I was listening to that and trying to, yeah, trying to understand. That one lasted a bit longer, I think, that film, didn't
that
it?
was
Yeah,
15 minutes. Yeah.
yeah,
um, and Yeah, I think in hindsight, I would have put subtitles in.
oh, yeah.
But I think at the time I was thinking, it's actually quite important for my voice to be heard as somebody who's, as we were talking about earlier, somebody who really despises talking about myself. I hate talking
Mhm.
about my work. Um, I thought, you know what, if this is my chance to have my voice heard, actually, I'm going to do it. And so my idea was that my voice would be projected into the room and that people could hear it. But yeah, um,
Mhm.
so the film, 15 minutes long. I'm gonna look into maybe posting that online at some point because it's not really been seen since, and
Yeah.
it might give some context. But and then I
And
made. Sorry.
this piece with this as well, there's an ambiguity because no one knows what this is, and so people it can fit in with the context of what you're talking about in your degree in this work,
Yeah,
but
sure.
it could sit in the context of what someone else is thinking about too, which I
Sure.
really like, because it fits both. It fits both.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
the ambiguity that I liked. I presume. I mean, was that intentional to have it ambiguous like that?
Yeah. I think so. I've always really enjoyed ambiguous texts and people being able to perceive texts in their own way, and um, yeah. And essentially it was like it fit with the concept of, oh, well, waiting. I mean, I took such a long journey to actually get in my degree. I was in and out of education, doing HNDs and going out and doing this and that, and
Mhm.
I was in art education actually for a long time, and then it all felt a bit anticlimactic at the end. And and it totally, I mean, fits in with the question of, well, what next? After art school,
Mhm.
what next? Um, and yeah, and I ended up the work that I've made for Nomas was sort of came from this pencil piece.
Oh, the style of it, yeah. So it is.
Style of it,
Yeah.
yeah, the style of it, because it's a simple thing. It's bubble text with that's been coloured in, around it, um, uh, but it takes time, and it's done incrementally, and it's like, it's
Mhm.
uh-huh.
And the other pieces on the back wall there, do you have close-ups of those
Yeah,
or?
don't actually have close-ups
Oh,
of those. I should, but those were digital collages.
okay.
One of them is, again, I should have photos, but it's pieces from the environment. So the white one is a image of the Arctics in my mum's house, and then it's been chopped up in Photoshop and then layered and layered and layered. And then the other one is the same. I've done the same thing, but it's a view from a building adjacent from my mum's window.
Okay.
And then they've got some text in them. So one of them says bashed pleb, which is an anagram of pebble dash. and
Ah,
then one of them says "real exciting," which is an anagram of Arctic ceiling.
ah.
And I played around with kind of anagrams and things in the film as well. Um,
Yeah, this is really good, Brooke, because I didn't realize these things. There was bits that I picked up that made me um, just really warm to your work, but there's lots of things there that I didn't get. I like that idea of the anagram as well. I suppose because you would like an anagram is like was a different reading of the same thing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I
Yeah.
really like that. I didn't realize that's what those were. I mean, I knew what the phrases you had, really
Mhm,
exciting and bash pleb. Yeah, I really like that.
mhm. Yeah, as I say, yeah, I just really love like double meanings um and things and like yeah, contrasting similar things and especially like within texts. So yeah, there's another slide, well, a photo
Mhm.
of inside the degree show, and I've got the big light there as well. I think that was just a little homage to the big light,
Yeah. Put the
and
big light on, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, is this your natural terrain? I think I actually can't remember where that came from, but it's just an example of the sort of questions that were dotted throughout the film as well, and this idea, this just yeah, I'm always questioning things, and
Yeah.
a lot of it is to do with identity, really, and not knowing as well, in a lot of ways. And yeah, I was thinking about some of the questions that I would get asked in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one in the film that stood out to me about something about putting the bins out or something. So you had the question, where do you want to be in 5 years' time, which is a kind of, well, have you got a slide of that one actually?
Oh, that's the badge play again in the
Oh yeah.
film.
Oh good, you do have that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'd layered, and that's again another example of the kind of the
And it's the pebble
scribbly
dash.
text that has come is yeah, that I've been doing. Yeah, Pebble Dash. I
Oh, I
just like
really like that. I really like that break.
yeah, that was one of my favorite shots from the film as well.
Hmm.
And then yeah, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Another question that I guess we all ask ourselves. We all get asked. Um, and yeah, it's just I don't know what was it that you kind of
Oh, I think it was someone talking, it was someone maybe asking you about the bins, or it was something really quite domestic, in the street that you lived,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they were
yeah,
asking that, and it was in contrast to this. Or was
right.
it about shutting the gate maybe, or something like
Yeah, there
that?
was a did you shut that gate was in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have I seen you on my street?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
that kind of thing in contrast.
mm,
Um so you said your mum and your sister came to see a degree show.
mm,
Um, And you're in an environment where you think, like being taught, I suppose, how to think and to make art better art, and so on. Um, and then, and it's often the case when people and or families have not been to art college, I haven't, they come into a degree show and they're a bit bamboozled. and, um, and that really struck me about, that you were thinking a certain way, and then contrasting that to when you get back home, who am I going to have that conversation? Because the
mm,
conversation becomes about, oh, have I seen you in my street, or did you close the gate?
mm.
Um, but what you said your mum and your sister were quite emotional seeing the work. Um, so I don't know if you got the chance to talk to them, or did they ask any questions?
I think they got the crux of it, and
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I'm so private with my work as well, and
Hmm.
I think they were just happy to see something that I've done, and for it to be so like domestic and personal, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it was just emotional for them,
Mhm.
and I think because it took so long for me to actually build up the courage to even think that I was capable of going to art school. You know, like it's for me, it's a huge thing. Confidence has been such a huge thing throughout my life that I've struggled
Yeah.
with, and they've seen that, and so I think, yeah, it was just a lot. It was just a lot of emotions, and they were just proud of me, you know. But I don't think I think a lot of they got it that it was about being working class in Edinburgh,
Yeah.
and you know, and they got that. But I think, you know, and I
Mhm.
get that is the crux of it. But
Yeah.
we didn't really have much conversation afterwards about it. They've been badgering me to see the film again and to get sent it, but I'm just, yeah, I'll do that when
Yeah.
I'm ready.
It's an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know if I fully appreciated because a lot of artists do find it hard to talk about themselves or their work. Some don't, obviously, but a lot do. And there's an argument, of course, that art should be able to stand up for itself. Um, but the kind of context of, I suppose, within the context of social media and Instagram, there is this kind of self promotion that's really big at the moment that can take people forward in a different way where you're not necessarily dependent on a gallery or an agent or someone else that can um, talk on your behalf on the artist's behalf where the artists struggle with it. I think I remember it was a discussion, maybe an interview with Tom at Apps or an article I'd read, and I think she was talking about as a painter. I think maybe it was just after she won the Turner Prize, but and trying to just allow her art to be the thing that speaks for her, rather than always having to try and communicate something of it as well. So it's definitely
Yeah,
relatable. Um, that experience, a lot of people would understand that. Um, One of the questions I was going to ask, and I don't know if this is the right time to ask it, in terms of if there's other stuff from your degree show you wanted to show or talk about. Um,
no, not. Shall I stop sharing my screen, Norm?
is that all you
Um,
had from your degree show? Is that the last one, is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, let's keep that up
Or,
because I think I really like that statement. And it might connect actually to uh,
yeah, I think probably.
the question about arts education. So obviously I work for I run Nomas projects, which is under the umbrella of a charity called Morphe Arts that I work for, which is a charity that helps people kind of make the transition from art education into professional practice. So you can imagine then when I see your work, I'm like, oh, this is really, connected to what I care about, I suppose, what I do. Um, and one of the reasons that we do that, there's so many people have this similar experience of coming out of art college, big focus on degree show, the intensity of that, you're working towards it. And then there's a kind of, yeah, let you kind of down, it's like, oh, now where? And I just wondered, because obviously you've graduated, you've been out for a year now, if you went back now knowing, what might happen after you graduate, if there's anything that you think art college could have prepared you for better, art education, because it helps you within the context of the confines of art education, but certainly from my experience in talking with people who graduate, there's not a lot of preparing for what's to come next. And I don't know if that's your case or actually there was, but sometimes the students were like, yeah, I'm not thinking about that. Yeah, I'm just concentrating on my work. Um, but I just wanted to kind of get a sense of, did you feel that there was any kind of helping or preparation for graduating?
Um, did I? I don't think. I don't really think much can prepare you, you know, for that. Like,
Yeah.
I was lucky that I'd gone to college for a few years and worked in a couple of galleries and seen a bit of that world. It wasn't uni, and I mean, I was a mature student when I went to uni.
Oh yeah.
I think, I mean, as we were just saying, like, there's so much emphasis on working towards your degree show and keeping up like the standard of work, which is great. Like, it's great if you can do that. But I think I'd like to see a bit more encouragement to make art that's like for you and um, not so focused towards making it. Or I mean, oh, sorry, Cully, I actually don't know
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
No, no, don't worry. So we'll go back to that question about, see, I'll just ask the same question again because I think I kind of think I know where you're heading. Um,
I don't know where I'm
so
heading.
it's about, yeah, so when, having been at art college and now having experienced being in a position where you're graduated, would you have, if you'd gone back there, would you have thought, actually, it would have been really helpful if they'd kind of given some hints or ideas to how to prepare for what it's going to be like after graduating. I don't know, was there any lectures on that about, where the opportunities might lie for your style of work or your kind of work? Like, would you go to a certain gallery or,
Yeah, I mean, not really. I think as well because my work has historically been quite conceptual and again like quite personal. Um, I yeah, I've struggled to kind of know what to do with my practice since leaving. Um,
yeah. So,
I really
but is that the kind of thing that you might say to a tutor, or a tutor might say, okay, your degrees course show is coming up. Have you invited, I could see your work in this context or that context. Um, would you consider inviting, such and such a gallery or such and such a director of a gallery or a project to come and see your work so that they're aware of kind of who you are? I don't know if any tutors would have suggested that
no,
kind of thing or
I didn't see that. No, I don't know if they were doing it. Maybe they were doing it to other people. I don't know. Maybe that's something that's easier to
Mhm.
say to a painter or something. I don't know. But I've
Yeah.
always struggled to see my work as something that's. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't. It's not commercial. Do you know what I mean? It's not commercial work,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yes, school is gearing you up to be a commercial artist in ways, or to be an artist that, yeah, is you're making work to sell, which is something that actually put me off going to into arts education in the first place when I wanted to when I was like 15. They were like, oh, how do you make work and sell it? And I was like, well, that's not why I'm here.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to know where your practice stands. I think when you make work like mine, um, and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, but and that's the thing. So if you can imagine if someone makes a painting or an object that's there can be a more straightforward
yeah,
monetary exchange or a commercial
sure,
exchange, um, then we kind of know there are spaces and places for that. But I think often with conceptual art, it's trying to connect to someone who's interested in you and your ideas. Because often it takes you. It's a slightly different art world
yeah,
that's interested in that kind of work. So it's not a straightforward transaction the
yeah,
way maybe a painting would be or an object.
exactly.
Um, and so it's trying to find places for that kind of conversation. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely. And I also think there's like a real lack of support in terms of gearing people up for writing applications and yeah, mock residency applications and like something like a
yeah,
residency I feel would be really beneficial to me because I don't know really where my practice is heading, but I know that I definitely don't have like the space to do it and the
yeah.
time and having that like opportunity to go away and think about my art and kind of be forced into making art again would be amazing. But I've got no idea where to start with a residency and
Yeah.
funding applications, and those practical things that
Yeah.
um, I think get forgotten about as well.
Yeah, that's hugely significant, that actually of having space, what you're saying, because you're at art college and you've got a space and you've got it, well, obviously not for free, but um, the availability of that, and you've got peers around, and so you're in that conversation, you're in that, and you're in a creative environment, and
Yeah,
then people graduate, and it's going to cost a lot of money to get a studio if they can afford it, and will they have the time because they need to get a job, and so on. And I know that obviously that's been your experience, and I think a lot of people come out of art college um, s- thinking, okay, I'm going to give this a go, and then realize, okay, I don't have space. I need money to pay the bills, and so I'm going to have to get a job. And then a job, depending on what it is, can be quite consuming. And I know
hmm
this is your experience. So I was just wanting to ask about that as well. So when the job becomes consuming, and then you're not making, not you, but one is working in the job and not making art, and then thinking, well, am I even an artist now? And that's even within the space of a year. And I know we've chatted about that, but so I just wanted to ask just about, yeah, I think your statement is on the Nomas website because we haven't gone through that, but I found your statement really, really helpful in describing what your work is about, I suppose what motivates it, and the things that even that you struggle with in terms of being affected by time and energy, which is related to the job. Um, and yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to, because I think what you're doing is really interesting as a job. Um, and I just want to ask if you could just describe what that job is, and then I suppose just what your experience of being is of trying to make work, or the effect of, well, actually, I'm in my job daily, so do I have the energy to make work at the end of the day? Or so I think maybe just start by describing what your job is, and the organization that you work for as well.
Yeah, totally. It's funny because I've actually just dropped my days because it
All
was
right.
a bit much, but now I'm supplementing that job with another job. Gone
Ah,
back in.
okay. Yeah.
Now I'm working weekends as well. Um, so it's yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, so it's straight after uni, I got a job with Garvold, which is an arts organisation and charity based in Edinburgh, but there's a few different branches around.
What's it called? Paddle.
Garvold,
Art. How's it spelled?
Garvald.
Arvold. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, arts charity, and also yeah, it's a day centre for adults with learning disabilities. And my job is a workshop support worker. So essentially, a support worker in this day service in different creative workshops. So we provide opportunities for people to come and make work and live fulfilling lives and gain skills, and
Yeah.
yeah, lots of really beautiful opportunities. And it's a really, really rewarding job. And I'm really, really lucky that I managed to get in there straight after uni. And the organisation's great. It's so inspiring and colourful, and everyone's lovely. But it's still social care at the end of the day, which is really underpaid, and
Mhm.
emotionally taxing at the end of the day. And if yeah, if you're that way inclined, like, I mean, yeah, it's like
Mhm.
it can be difficult as well. And I find it quite difficult, as much as I enjoy it and get so much out of it. Um, so yeah, so it's funny because yeah, I'm really quite bad at making my own art, and I think that's why I enjoy supporting other people to
Mhm.
create. And I feel I'm way better at doing that. and being an advocate for other people's work.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, it's good to recognize that in yourself, actually. I think that's, if you think actually, yeah, I'm an arts facilitator,
Yeah.
and recognize that as, in terms of trying to kind of understand your identity, and then you're not, yeah, because if you're not making and someone thinks, well, artists make work and I'm not making, so does that mean that I'm not an artist? Which I'm not.
Hmm.
I don't really agree with that, but I understand that that is why a lot of people feel, it's hard to call yourself an artist, and then someone naturally is going to say, oh, what do you make? And you're like, oh, I don't make anything, or I haven't made anything for a long time. And I know that's been your story this year, but yeah, to identify
And
yourself as a value. Sorry.
yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I mean, most of my colleagues as well are artists, and
Mm.
yeah, and I mean, I speak about it often. It's like it's so hard for us to make art,
Mhm.
but yeah, what we get out of supporting others is great, and just being in a creative environment
Yeah.
through work is really really special as well, and a
Yeah,
privilege I
well, that's
feel
great.
to. Um,
So I was
yeah,
aware of
but
oh, sorry, Brooke, on you go.
oh no, go on.
No, I was just going to say I was aware that, because you had this job and then we were talking, over the year, at the times we met about leading up to the show and what you might exhibit and so on. And I think then you were realizing, actually, I don't have time to make, or I'm not making anything. But then it came up about, you were doing ceramics and doing text. And I think you talked about that you had the opportunity to use the facilities and make ceramics. I can't remember if that was the order of things. And you said, "Oh, I've done a couple of pieces," and then I was like, "Oh, let's have a look at them." And then I thought, actually, this is your practice. It's connected to partly where you work, but you're using the facilities. Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. It was yeah, it was. I was just thinking, well, I don't really have much in the way of materials or facilities, but what I
Yeah.
do have is limited, but I do have access to the facilities at work. And I work on a Monday. I work in the pottery workshop,
Yeah.
supporting the members, and so I literally would started spending like half an hour a week, like at the end of a Monday,
Hmm.
um, starting to make some ceramics. So just like, 1 week I would roll out a slab and cut it, and then I'd wait a week for it to dry, and then I would um and then start working on it, and then it was then I start another one. So it took quite a while, but yeah, it was born out of just this access,
Yeah.
what I had access to.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, then I ended up making the ceramic pieces, which
Yeah.
was really cool. Because I'd done a little bit of ceramics at uni. I mean, I tried a bit of everything, but um,
Yeah.
so it was nice to start working with clay again, actually. Um,
That might be a good segue into talking about the work at Nomas then, if you've got
yeah,
images of that as well.
yeah. So I think we
Yeah.
met.
Great.
We met one day, Cully, and I was wondering like how to start making work, and
Hmm.
kind of just said, "Well, why don't you just think about like where you are now, and don't think about what you were doing for degree show, and like where are you now?" And I was like, "Okay." So quite literally, I started with that little tile there on the right, and that was the first kind of thing that I made, just as a springboard. And then I just again I was looking back at kind of works that I'd done on paper, and a lot of it was this text that was like block text that I'd then penciled around, and started with this one because I was at capacity thinking about the capacity that I had for art making at the time. And I mean, and also when I started making work, it was the depths of winter, and I was just feeling quite low and
Yeah.
like unable to make work, and I just felt like I had no capacity. So I thought, well, let's make some capacity, and then started making that little tile there. Um, and yeah, I guess I was thinking about the fact that my work has been concept heavy and non-commercial, and I thought, well, it'd be quite nice to make
Mhm.
something that's an object, like something that can be held, and um, yeah, and so I think that's where I started with that, something that could be held and shown, obviously in the Nomas windows as well.
Mhm.
Um, so that's kind of how it started, and I think I just feel like I plucked words just from the air. But I started with capacity,
Yeah.
and then ended up with five of these ceramic tiles, and that's it in the space there.
Yeah.
We've got the first one is this one. This is ongoing. It's funny, when I was in Dundee the other day, my mate was overseeing the work, and she was looking at this for ages. I'm like, what is that? What is that? What does that mean? And I was like, it's ongoing. She was like, like, it took
Yeah.
her ages to figure out. And I mean, that was, yeah, that just happened naturally. I mean, I just started doing it, and then it ended up not fitting, and then that happened.
Yeah.
Um, but these words that I've chosen, I guess it's just words that echo the situation again of things being ongoing, a practice being ongoing,
Mhm.
finding the capacity for the practice, and
Mhm.
um, yeah,
Yeah. 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 All the phrases kind of related to certainly our discussion. Um, where you're thinking about that with your capacity, even okay, because there's statements or their words, sorry, that could be read in different ways, as all words are, but relate to your specific feeling or
yeah,
your experience. Yeah. And
yeah.
then, yeah,
I was just thinking about the value of the work, and what it means, and like it's like, what am I even doing? I felt quite um confused about what I was doing, and how I was making work, and what any of it really meant anyway, and like, what is content, and like,
yeah,
is this good enough, and thinking, do you know what, like, it just is good enough. And then I was like, okay, well, you know what, I'm just going to be content with this, because it is what it is.
yeah.
um
Well, that was the title of the show in the end, wasn't it? That we were chatting about what the title could be, and it says it's content, and obviously that word could be read in a different way, and it actually is both of those experiences for you, where this is the content of what I've been making, and it's the feeling of being content that I'm doing what I can within my means, within my time, within my energy. Um, yeah, I just really like that. Again, it's just that play on words, and both the theme and the subject around of your degree show and that play on words. I just really enjoyed that.
yeah.
I like how, so this is the thing at Nomas. People can. There's a couple of times when the windows have been damaged,
Mm.
and but yeah, often there's a pub next door, so people are often standing outside, just leave their glasses or their water bottle there. So I like the fact that you've photographed that in its
Oh no,
context,
yeah. I like honesty.
Yeah. What was the last window? What was the last one? Do you have an image of that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, perfect slide to
Yeah.
end on as well. But yeah, I guess, and yeah, I was just thinking, well, like I was making this work, and I didn't really know where it was going, but I knew like that it was happening, and then it was like, oh well, I've got like running out of time here, like that'll do, that's plenty, um, and yeah, and everyone can take what they want from each piece, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, but you've given us that insight to the background to it, which I think helps people. But of course, I think good art can work on different levels, and it
mm,
can be, we've got them in a certain order, but if you mix the order, then the narrative becomes slightly different. And
that's it.
um,
Yeah, we're reading it backwards or whatever, as you said.
yeah, well, that's right, because you can read it left to right as you walk past the windows, or you can read it right to left if you walk past the other direction.
Yeah,
And then they can stand on their own. They can be pieces on their own as well.
yeah, exactly.
Um, One of the things that you also said in your statement was about talking about how you understand um, artistic growth or fulfillment, and those could be connected or two different things. Like, yeah, I think you alluded to that earlier about making art just for your fulfillment, that it actually doesn't have to be, about developing a career as an artist, so you mentioned in your statement the idea of artistic growth and how you measure that, not you, how does one measure artistic growth? Um, and one of the kind of obvious things is I'm making work,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm exhibiting work, people are buying it or collecting it or whatever, and all those are the more standard and easy to understand or evidence of growth, artistic growth. But sometimes it's about concepts and ideas, and how ideas have matured as well. So I just wondered yeah. Well, I know in our discussions that you felt that you've not been growing, um, and partly because of, well, you haven't, you'd be like, what have I made, and actually when it comes down to, like, say with Nomas and having an opportunity, you think, okay, well, what, I think that was what we talked about. I was just trying to encourage you to say your degree show was about what you were living through and trying to understand at that stage, and then this, I was trying to encourage you to kind of make work that's about, okay, well, what does it mean to be an artist who's back home, who's got a job, who doesn't have much time or energy? And then this is what you've made, based on the resources around you. And I just think, yeah, I was personally really encouraged by that, because it comes out of literally who you are and what's going on in your life at the moment. And it's possible to make art out of that. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I just wondered, yeah, if you've had any thoughts on how you determine that in terms of artistic growth and fulfillment, like, do you feel fulfilled having done this now? Yeah, now that
Yeah.
I've coerced you into doing it.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one. I think um, I'm somebody who really does just kind of roll with the punches,
Yeah,
and uh, the things I do usually do come in that same way of just like out of necessity sort of thing.
right. Okay.
Um, but I mean, yeah, doing this has been really great for me. I don't, yeah, I mean, obviously it's the first work that I made, yeah, since leaving art school, and I
Mhm.
don't know if I didn't have this opportunity, if I would have made anything by now, or maybe I would have made something that maybe it would have been totally different. Um, I
Mhm.
don't know. I think I this idea of pressure is really interesting because I mean,
Yeah.
we all hate being under pressure, but it is usually what encourages you to grow, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably say yeah, a little bit of pressure is good. Yeah, but not too much as well. This like really competitive. element of art school and degree shows, like that totally scunnered me and made me not want to make any art for ages after doing that, because it
Ah,
just felt
yeah.
so like I was on show and I was being judged by strangers, and I was either going to win an award or not, and like is my whole practice yeah, quantifiable to an award. And so yeah, I think um fulfillment
It's interesting.
comes from just doing you and not, and yeah, like a little bit of pressure but not too much,
Yeah.
and being out of your comfort zone enough to grow but not enough that you're like spreading yourself too thin, and that you're suffering for it, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting that being an artist, it's not just about making art because someone could make good art, but struggles with, the other things that go with being an artist, which is putting yourself out in public,
Mm.
exhibiting, the pressure that comes with that. I think Grayson Perry talks about that in when he did the Wreath lectures, the play into the gallery. I don't know if you ever listened to that, or he's got it as a book form as well. But he talks about, I think Picasso, or maybe it was this idea of making art, just enjoy it like a child, uh,
Yeah, yeah, totally.
and Grayson Perry was saying, yeah, that's all very well. We'd all love to do that, but when you've got a big show coming up and
Mm.
you've got to make a living from it, and you've got a year to do it, um, and then the critics are going to come in, and then the public are going to come in. Oh yeah,
Mm.
and I've got to make a living from this as well. And he's like, and then someone just says, "Oh, go and just enjoy it,"
Yeah.
and so there's that part of it as well. It's like one one part of being an artist is the ability to make good work. But there's other parts of it come too, and I think it's all right to recognize, where our abilities lie, to know that, so that we're not beating ourselves up if
Mm.
we're not managing the other parts of it. Even what you said earlier, I think that was really interesting, just the enjoyment you have of facilitating other people, um, and that creativity.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Is that plenty?
Is that plenty? Yeah. Yeah, I think it might be Brooke. Also, just looking for a book.
I've stopped sharing my screen now.
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, I found there's this book here I thought you might find interesting. Tell them I said no. And it's people who have been in the art world and have chosen to kind of move out of it, so they become it's more about just them making the work, and that's the thing that's important. What struck me about it is people that have been in the art world and are known,
Mm.
and then have chosen to kind of move out of it. So people are still interested in what they're doing, but
Mm.
it's on their terms, in terms of how much they want to be public or exhibiting and so on. Where it's much harder for someone that's just graduated to say, "Oh, I don't want to be in the art world."
Yeah,
um,
totally. But yeah, I kind of,
yeah.
yeah. I'm
But I think
kind
it's
of,
all right. I don't know if you kind of think I want to be in the art world, or you're like, no, that's not where I want to be. And it's like, okay, so if I've got this ability as an artist, I can create things, I can make things, is trying to find that the path that's right for you. And yeah, I
yeah.
I really enjoy your work, and um, I've just really enjoyed kind of the chats we've had over this year as well, and I'm totally happy to keep in touch. And I was just really conscious of not. I didn't want to force you to do this, but I thought, as I said at the start of this kind of discussion, I just think there'll be a lot of people will relate to this who have already graduated. And if anyone's seeing this who hasn't graduated, to kind of understand that there, there's a journey to come in terms of what, how navigating leaving art college and moving into kind of professional practice, what that looks like, because it will be different for everyone as well. And I personally, I've enjoyed the conversations we've had, but also really appreciate you committing to making the work once we had that conversation, and to just sharing that with us as well, like just your honesty, your vulnerability. I've just really appreciated that, Brooke.
Thank,
um yeah, so thanks very much. Hopefully people will see this and benefit from it in the future as well. This could be part of your helping facilitating others, whatever trajectory they take. So I really appreciate it.
thanks very much.
um Thank you.